I know the temptation is there. You're thinking about overseeding or reseeding your Bermuda lawn. Don't do it. It's an absolute last resort, and I'm going to tell you why, so hold on one sec. Hey guys, so I figured the first thing I'd do is I'd take you out here and I'd show you a couple of areas that were completely ruined, that used to be sod, and that were basically 95% weeds, and that what we've done with that over time to help that. There's so many questions about people. Well, I have thin areas. I need to that Bermuda is completely different than fescue. You do not want to overseed or reseed it. And let me go through it real quick. So first of all, let me show you my front. Keep in mind that this is what, April 6th or something like that. Looking pretty good there. Short. But now what I want to do is I want to walk you across the street. Now see, this lawn looks pretty good, doesn't it? This is one of our projects that we took over last year that was all weeds. Let me show you what it looked like before. Before, after. Yes, this is true. This is the same lawn. Matter of fact, this area over here is owned by this house over here, which is a rental, and I got tired of looking at it, so I took it over. This, my friends, believe it or not, this is Bermuda sod. Said that before. Look at it. And then this is what we've been able to do with it. Believe it or not, it's still just coming out of dormancy. So I'm going to walk you through how we transform that into this. And then let me show you the other lawn, which is what we call the world's worst Bermuda lawn. Now the world's worst was just like that. It was solid weeds. And we came over here and we did the same thing to it, but I want to show you now. And that's what it looks like. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to do a couple things. I'm going to talk to you about reseeding. I'm going to talk to you about, man, horrible lawns with a bunch of weeds. But this is where people always think that, hey, I got to reseed. So hold on, I'll go over it with you. All right, so this is a tough video for me to make. I've tried to shoot this video like 5 times, so stick with me. This isn't going to be entertaining. This is going to be me talking to you about this issue. Number one, let's explain the difference. Well, before we start, everything I'm talking about, seed, fertilizer, everything in the description below, that links to a page, and all the information about that correlates to this video is going to be on that page. Bermuda Lawn Guide, fertilizer, everything. And of course, click subscribe because I've got 35 videos coming out. Why don't we overseed Bermuda? It's pretty simple. The majority of the time, people run to big box stores, they buy Bermuda seed, and all the seed sold in big box stores, and if it's inexpensive, if it's cheap in Bermuda, it's going to be common Bermuda. Got that? Common Bermuda is very thick, rough, and coarse. Hybrid Bermuda, which is used in sod, is very fine, very thin, very soft looking. That's the difference between the two of them. So let's see if we can catch this on camera here. So I want to show you 2 different varieties of grass here. This is a common Bermuda. See how large the blades are? And then this is a hybrid sod Bermuda. Common, hybrid. And this is what most people want when they're talking about a Bermuda lawn. And so if you have Bermuda sod, which is made from hybrid Bermuda, and you go buy common Bermuda and put it on it and fill patches, it's going to look completely different. It just looks kind of stupid. It just doesn't look good. So you need to resist the urge to overseed Bermuda lawns. Now the reason why I showed you that over there is because a lot of people would take a look at that lawn and say, oh, I need to just kill this whole thing off and reseed it. Not true. The lawns that you see, the projects that we took over, basically what we did was we sprayed real heavy 2 types of different weed killers, and this is covered in the Bermuda Lawn Guide, by the way. I'm not going to sit here and explain every step. Read the Bermuda Lawn Guide, and everyone's going to ask questions. It's in the Bermuda Lawn Guide, so read it. We basically went over and sprayed 2 different types of weed killers, real heavy, and we put down pre-emergent all at the same time. You have to have guts to do this, because basically your yard, that yard is going to completely brown out and it's going to look completely dead. Then what you're going to do is, once that all dies off, you're going to cut it down, and then you're going to start feeding the Bermuda. And you start feeding it, feeding it, and feeding it. You really want to push that Bermuda. So what'll happen? Even the Bermuda will be shocked a little bit, but the Bermuda won't die. The weeds will die. You put down heavy pre-emergent, you put down 2 different types of heavy weed killers, let it all die off. The Bermuda will probably brown out a little bit too, and then you just start feeding the Bermuda, and the Bermuda will come back and take over. It takes a while. It takes several months to do it. It took us, 4 or 5 months to get that one done. That area over there, we spent all last year redoing that one, but you don't want to necessarily overseed. So understand this. Regardless of the condition of your Bermuda grass or Bermuda lawn, if you just do that simple step, just say, okay, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do that real strong kill, and then I'm going to go back and feed it. That's the way to do it. If you have bare spots, I have a video up about fixing bare spots, about stealing runners from all over your yard, or don't do edging. Steal those runners and fill in the bare spots, and that way you have the same hybrid Bermuda in those bare spots starting to grow. That's another way to fix it. But if you do need to reseed for some reason, Bermuda seed is very expensive. They call it sort of hybrid. And there's Arden 15, there's Princess 77, there's Blackjack, there's Yukon. Those are all what I call golf course quality Bermuda seeds. They're going to replicate hybrid Bermuda. So if you do have to seed, number 1, no pre-emergent, or no pre-emergent for 90 days. And that's always a problem, because pre-emergent, once the seed germinates, it'll stop the roots from growing and the seed dies off. That's how pre-emergent works. So it's not going to do, you have to wait at least 3 months before you do any seeding if you put down pre-emergent. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, I have a video about it. We did some reseeding over on that area, and there's a video up there. And of course, it's in the Bermuda Lawn Guide. I'm not going to sit here and explain it all. But basically, you run a dethatcher, you dethatch the whole area. You immediately put down your seed, you put down PGF Complete, you spray it with super juice, and then you start watering and watering and watering, and guess what? Then you have Bermuda come up. That's how you do it. And that's pretty much it. So you have to make that decision. You really don't want to go out to a lawn that is Bermuda sod and start overseeding with common Bermuda. That's a big mistake people make. You want to make sure that if you do any overseeding, that you're using a seed that replicates a hybrid lawn, and that's going to be one of the more expensive seeds. Now, I think I looked at one, just looked up one this morning. I think it was like Arden 15, and for 25 pounds, it was like $400 and something. It's expensive, but it's cheaper than sod. And you can probably get away with 1 to 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So you may only need, if you have a 10,000 square foot lawn, you want to do a full reseed, get away with 1 to 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet. I just want to stress this point again. Everyone talks about this time of year reseeding because they're in a fescue mind. With fescue, we reseed all the time. We overseed all the time. Or with Kentucky, bluegrass, or whatever it is. We constantly overseed and overseed, but we never ever overseed with Bermuda grass. What we do is we push Bermuda grass and make it thicken up and make it spread. The way to really make Bermuda grass really thicken up and really spread, the way we've done it on all these projects, is we put PGF Complete during this growing season, the spring and early summer. Every 3 weeks we're putting out light coats, light coat, light coat, light coat, light coat, and spray it with a little bit of super juice on top of that. And you'll start to see it'll start to grow, and all of a sudden you'll see runners shooting across your sidewalks and on your driveways. You'll see it, but you have to push it during this period, unless you have an irrigation system in the summertime. This is the time of year you can get it to completely thicken up. You've got a big window here. The whole spring and early summer is when you can push that lawn. But remember, if you've got something like that, where you go out and you've got quote unquote Bermuda sod, but it's almost all weeds, you just gotta have some guts. It takes some guts to do it and go out and say, okay, I'm gonna go out, I'm just gonna put two different types. I'm gonna put a broadleaf killer, I'm gonna put a grassy weed killer, I'm gonna put it down heavy, I'm gonna put down pre-emergent all in the same day. I'm just gonna put it out and just let it all die off. Just let it all die off. And then a couple weeks from then about a week or two later, start putting out your PGF Complete and push it. It's pretty simple. That's what we did. Remember, Bermuda is almost impossible to kill. It's like Dallas grass or crabgrass. It's really hard to kill Bermuda grass. So even if you sort of burn back your Bermuda, which we did over there during the summertime, we did this, and we kind of burned back all the Bermuda, it'll come back. You're not necessarily killing it. Just be careful to read all your labels. Now, in the Bermuda Lawn Guide and on our website, I link to Bermuda-friendly weed killers. Just follow your application rates. Put out the strongest that you can according to the label. Make sure the label says it's safe for Bermuda grass. And just sort of make that decision just to really aggressively go after it, because now is the time you want to do it. Again, it's kind of like cosmetic surgery. I always say it's kind of like plastic surgery. I need a nose job, and after I go in and get a nose job, I'm going to be ugly for a couple weeks. But after I heal up, now all of a sudden I'll get back to normal and I'll be absolutely stunning. I'll just be beautiful. It's the same thing with your lawn. When you do this process, this killing process, it's going to be ugly for a couple of weeks. Just get used to it, and then it will grow back. So basically, that's what I really wanted to point out today, is the difference between hybrid Bermuda and common Bermuda. You just don't want to mix the two and resist overseeding. Hit subscribe, because guess what? I just got a new aerator in tomorrow. Later today or tomorrow, we're going to be putting out some cheap organic material. We'll be putting out some humichar. We'll be doing a bunch of stuff. Click subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Doc.